Welcome back to Owl003, where I'm mapping the matrix one target at a time. And today I'm going to talk to you about interrogating the subconscious mind of people that are both living and have passed on. Now, intermediate training, CRV, is when I teach the students to begin this process. Now, the field of remote viewing, you could do a lot of things. You could kind of point this in a lot of directions. And you could use it how you want. People, it's very gimmicky these days. People are kind of using it as a gimmick to make money, and you hear a lot of the best. Often, it seems the best is usually, something that is somewhat innately given and taught, though. But when you hear the best, it seems like it's overwhelmingly expensive, or you gotta, spend tickets to play grab ass with a bunch of other people that think they're the best, and again, it's just, you gotta use discernment when you're dealing with this. This is a very ego-driven field. If you're playing at a very high level, and you're playing at a level higher than others, that's intimidating for people. They take it very personal. So, anyway, what I find very interesting and how I've been utilized this, whether it be with a think tank or a customer that just happens to have, wants to try to solve this problem, or give them a new theory as to what might be the cause of something that they can't figure out. So, again, I'm not a scientist. What will happen is they'll put me in a position to try and figure something out, and they'll see how I react to it. And then someone much smarter than me will try and build that model around what's going on, right? So, again, I'm not trying to, tell anybody how to believe something or a model of something. I'm just a pattern of behavior is what I've seen, okay? So, consciousnesses or subconsciouses that I've dealt with, depending on how you task it, whether they're alive or dead, the session could go in very different directions. Now, if they're dead or alive, doesn't matter. I don't light any candles. I don't light any incense. I don't turn the lights off. I don't do anything like that, because you don't need to. Has nothing to do with that. Our subconscious behaves in a way where, let me give you an example. Like if I was trying to get some information out of someone here today at some point in time that's alive, it's almost like I'm kind of like slipping in the back door of their mind and pulling out this information, right? Now, if the person's passed and I'm kind of directing the conversation directly at them, the session will take a completely different characteristic. It will be a more interactive type session. Now, again, how it behaves, okay? I'm not telling you anything, all right? How it behaves is almost as if, here's an example I've got. This was a session with Ingo. Here's a session with Pat. Here's a session with Hitomi. Now, when you're dealing with them directly, it's like if they have passed in current time, it's as if the whole beingness of, like, let's say Ingo, his whole experiential life experience, his personalities, all his memories collectively, is almost as if it's in a file on a shelf. And I could remote view it today, I could remote view it 10 years from now, and it'll still be Ingo. It'll still be the Ingo that we all know and love, and, he'll still have those quirks, he'll still be kind of cheeky and have those personality quirks. So, again, you come back to this thing of time that we're dealing with, this dimension of time here. it doesn't seem like they're dealing with that in the same way we are, okay? Because they're just there as they are. Um, Pat, same thing. Pat, when I tried talking to Pat, actually I was tasked around the details of his death, um, and it's almost as if you have a recorded memory up to the end of your life. So Pat never had any resolution of how he died. He just knew he was sick and all that. So when I queued him up in that moment, he really didn't know for sure, who that he died before he got that closure. So I had to kind of dig into my own subconscious to give me the overall picture of what's going on. Because that file, Pat, who however you want to look at it, his is limited to his life experience in that moment. Now, Hitomi was probably one of the most memorable sessions I've ever had. She was one of the most profound remote viewers of our time, and there she seemed extremely aware, powerful, talk to me, engaging, very, very direct, a very clean signal, seemingly. Now, I've had conversations with past presidents, astronauts, movie stars, Truman, Neil Armstrong, Marilyn Monroe. I've had laughs with John Candy. So, what is this? What does this mean? I mean, are they? I guess what I'm saying is them, whoever they are, seemingly as accessible as if they were alive. Doesn't seem to make a difference. And it's astounding how much information you can get, completely blind of who they are. Now, again, what is this? What does this entail? What could we gain from this? Well, you can't seem to end a personality. I mean, there seems to be an unfettered access when it comes to personalities. And two, this could be done with a piece of paper and a pen. You don't need to bring all this extra ambiance to it. There's no I guess my point is there's no this mysticism. I don't need to do all this BS to hold them, to get a hold of them. They're conscious, to get answers to questions. So when I talk to them, or Dolores Cannon, I just did, what are they like? They're just like they are in real life when they're here. So if I go to it's somebody that's very reserved and very, kind of, they're going to be the same way. Because you're dealing with the same persona. So, a lot of people got to go into this idea of belief. A lot of people, when it comes to their, whether it be a religious thing or a spiritual thing, whatever, they have this strong belief system, okay? Now, I don't look at that the same way as I once did, because I've seen too many things that go beyond anything like that. So what I would say is some people that have these like really strong belief systems, it just hypothesis here. It could be a detriment to your own innate abilities. Okay, so if you are so, because your belief system does fall into this some of this stuff. So if you are like so determined that this is what happens when you die, or this or that or the other, when you don't really know, but you're not even open to other ideas, you've just kind of shunted your own awareness, your own a reality box is what Ingo would describe it as. Um, so again, it's not to say don't believe this or don't have this in your heart or this or that. I'm not saying that. Um, but what I am saying is the more open you are to possibilities, you're likely more to perceive more layers of all of this reality. Um, so again, I think it's important to focus this and wherever you feel drawn to the most. And I feel like I'm trying to point it at consciousness, our subconscious, of what we could know and what we could learn. Now, what they did back in the day, like they did a lot of stuff. I've learned a lot of stuff from like the Stargate crew, but they have not rounded out the understanding of perception of remote viewing. That's ridiculous. That's absolutely ridiculous. And I could say this too. Like the student I'm working with currently is amazing. I mean, like a duck to water. I have chosen wisely, and he will one day surpass me, in my ability in this, and what I can do with it. And if you are truly a really good instructor, teacher of anything, if you don't feel deep down that you want your students to go on and surpass you and show you up, you shouldn't be doing this. If it's your intention to hold them back and put chains around them and follow you around, then you shouldn't be doing this. It's my hope collectively that we, at this point, could work together and learn more things, okay? There is some things I state in here that I know pisses people off. But to be honest with you, I know people in this field that write books. They have great opinions about things, but I haven't seen a lick of paper from them. Not one session. Not one session. They will talk and talk and talk, but no proof in the pudding. They're just opinions. So if someone is passed, whether it be your aunt, your uncle, or whatever, just know that they are just as easily accessible like this as anybody else. So I guess my basic message here with this is you might want to keep an open mind as far as what's possible. And to be honest with you, I mean, some of these subconsciouses are, I mean, some people be like, oh, that's just information, or it's not them, or whatever. I don't care what it is. Okay? What I'm saying is when I access them, you would not be able to tell the difference. Okay? If your subconscious was, if all of you, okay, I'm just throwing this out there just as an idea, okay? If all of you were a collection of very, very, very advanced software, would you be able to tell the difference? Even if you could, would it matter? If that's what's going on? I mean, so as humans, we have this, we always want to put our thumbs on this, label this. This is a that, this is a that, this is the that, this is the that. But when you stop kind of trying to do that, and you just, okay, seems to be what happens when we point this at that in this way, it gives you a different perspective on how things might work. I go back to that, that, I can't remember who did it, but there was like this back in the day, they were trying to describe dimensions of 2D and 3D, and trying to be able to explain somebody that lives in 2D what 3 dimensions is. It's very difficult for them to understand that dimension. For instance, like we deal with this time. Now imagine like we are trying to get from one side of the shore to the other side of the shore, and in between both shores is this massive body of waves and water, right? So right here in life, we're trying to get through it. We're trying to chug through it. And you look at the subconscious, they're like, I can't even see what you're talking about. It's not even there. Look, I'm here, I'm there, I'm here, I'm there. It's not even. So that's when I go back to your subconscious doesn't know what time is, so it must have played this all out in an instantaneous moment. But again, there's some things that I'm just going to be honest with you. Some things remote viewers have not figured out yet, but they will eventually. So again, I just wanted to reiterate that through remote viewing, you could access the subconscious mind of somebody living or dead, and that's something to explore. There is stuff to be learned there, and this whole thing with seance and channeling and all that stuff, you don't have to do any of that. This is a science that we don't fully understand yet. Okay, so at the end of the day, this all seems to be coming from the same source, which is you. How you want to point this thing? How you want to, how you want to utilize it? So, just something to think about, guys. We can access anyone. I've flirted with Marilyn Monroe. I've, like I said, John Candy was a blast. Neil Armstrong was brilliant, strong guy. Ingo is always a blast. He's cheeky as hell, and he seems to love me. So, don't believe everything you read in the funny papers. Find a method. Find a method that explores this as well if you're interested. But don't think you have to go out and spend all this kind of money to do stuff like this, because you don't. You also don't need to go to, fly to wherever to play grab ass with a bunch of other people that are, kind of following the same train of BS. This is in you. Once you get the training, this is in you, and your limits are your own. So, and don't be fooled. If you're playing at a really high level, that's scary to other people. Okay? Nobody wants to be demoralized. This is a personal journey. So, again, this is a very fascinating aspect to explore remote viewing. I would invite you guys to explore it and look at the science involved in it. See what can be learned about consciousness, about our subconscious, and about how it all interplays with each other. Because it's been really rewarding. I've been able to share some amazing experiences. One of these sessions I have recorded, and if I could, some of them don't paint a pretty picture to some people that are around. Like some of them, you literally pee your pants watching it. But if I could figure out how to show those without getting myself in trouble, I'll be damned. I'll make sure I do. But again, guys, just keep an open mind. I'm not trying to tell anybody how to do anything or believe what you want. I'm just telling you that there are things that, a lot of things that could be done with this. A lot of things beyond just going to a site, feeling around. So keep it in mind, and we'll catch you next time.